The sun's rays filtered through the water, casting a magical display of light across the surface of Howe Sound. As Oliver Anderson plunged into the refreshing waters near the shores of British Columbia, he had no clue that this seemingly normal September day would alter his life completely. Despite more than a decade of diving experience, countless dives, and a vast collection of underwater photographs, he was unprepared for the extraordinary moment that lay ahead. The visibility that day was exceptional, around 30 meters. The water, though cool at just 12 degrees Celsius, was remarkably clear. Oliver swam leisurely among the kelp forests, pointing his camera at bright sea stars scattered across the rocky bottom. His attention was drawn to a small group of sea cucumbers, and he decided to take some close-up shots. It was at that moment he felt it, an almost imperceptible change in the water's movement. Something large was nearby. Oliver turned slowly, expecting to see a curious seal or perhaps a small orca, common visitors to these waters. But what he saw left him frozen in amazement. A young humpback whale, no more than 4 meters long, was swimming just a few meters away. Its movements were strange, unlike the usual behavior of these majestic creatures. The calf moved in jerky motions, constantly glancing at the diver as if checking to see if he was watching. Its small eyes, surprisingly expressive for a creature of such immense size, appeared to convey both worry and a silent request for assistance. Oliver paused, holding his breath as he switched on his camera. The opportunity to witness such an intimate encounter with a wild whale calf was nothing short of extraordinary, but the animal seemed entirely uninterested in being filmed. It swam closer, almost brushing against Oliver with its massive fin, then darted away, describing a wide arc before returning. This pattern repeated several times, and it became increasingly clear. The whale was trying to communicate something to the diver. After the 5th or 6th maneuver, the calf abruptly changed direction and swam purposefully away. After covering about 20 meters, it stopped and turned, as if to check whether the diver was following. Oliver hesitated. Following a wild animal into open waters could be dangerous, but something about the calf's behavior, its urgency, almost desperation, compelled him to act. Checking his gauge and compass, Oliver began to follow his unusual guide. They swam northeast, moving farther from the shore. The depth increased, and the sunlight grew dimmer. Every 30 to 40 meters, the calf would stop, giving Oliver time to catch up and ensure he was still following. After covering more than 500 meters, they reached a small underwater valley. Here, at a shallow depth, Oliver saw something that made his blood run cold. A massive adult humpback whale, at least 14 meters long, hung almost motionless in the water. Its body was cloaked in what, from afar, resembled an unusual gray mass. As Oliver drew closer, he discovered that it was barnacles. However, these weren't the typical small clusters of crustaceans commonly found on whales. This was a dense, solid layer, reaching several centimeters in thickness in some areas. They covered almost the entire body, leaving only small areas around the eyes and blowhole free. The calf swam to the large whale, presumably its mother, and began gently nudging her as if trying to make her move. But the whale only weakly flicked its tail fin. Even through the water, Oliver could see how labored and uneven her breathing was. Wasting no time, the diver approached cautiously. His hands trembled as he retrieved a titanium knife from his belt. He knew barnacles could be a sign of serious health problems in whales. Normally, the strong immune systems of these animals prevent parasites from multiplying to such an extent. Something had severely compromised the health of this majestic creature. Carefully approaching the whale's body, Oliver began removing the largest clusters of barnacles. The work was painstaking and difficult. He had to be gentle enough not to injure the whale's skin, but still apply significant effort to dislodge the firmly attached parasites. The calf remained nearby, swimming in continuous circles and occasionally releasing low, resonant sounds that reverberated through the water. The mother whale lay almost motionless, her massive eye blinking slowly whenever Oliver entered her line of sight. After half an hour of painstaking work, the diver had managed to clear an area about the size of a dining table. But it was just a drop in the ocean. The barnacles covered almost the entire massive body of the whale. It became clear that he couldn't handle this alone. Moreover, his air gauge showed that his tank was running low. Oliver quickly surfaced, trying to memorize his exact location. Once back on the boat, he immediately grabbed his radio and contacted the Marine Mammal Rescue Service. His voice shook with urgency as he described the situation to the dispatcher. "This is Oliver Anderson, certified diver. I'm about a mile northeast of the entrance to Howe Sound. I found an adult humpback whale in critical condition. Its body is almost entirely covered in barnacles, and it is nearly immobile. There's a calf nearby." Fortunately, an experienced specialist was on the other end of the line. They asked a few clarifying questions about the whale's condition, approximate size, and depth before informing Oliver that a rescue team would be on site within an hour. That hour felt like an eternity. Oliver periodically dove with a mask to ensure the whales were still there. The calf appeared to sense that help was imminent. It ceased its restless movements and stayed close to its mother, gently brushing against her with its fin from time to time. Precisely 53 minutes later, a specialized marine mammal rescue vessel emerged on the horizon. On board was a team of 6, 2 veterinarians specializing in marine mammals, 3 rescue operations specialists, and a cetacean behavior expert. After assessing the situation, the team immediately began working. 2 divers descended with special equipment to remove barnacles. Their tools were far more effective than Oliver's knife. They used hydraulic scrapers designed to remove parasites without harming the whale's skin. The work progressed slowly but steadily. Every hour, the divers rotated to conserve air. Oliver, having received permission from the operation leader, joined the team to assist where he could. The calf stayed close throughout, observing the rescue efforts with focused attention. Once the majority of the barnacles had been removed, the veterinarians proceeded with a more detailed examination. What they discovered deeply concerned them. Sorry for the interruption. Before we continue with the story, I kindly ask you to like the video and subscribe to this channel. It is very important for us. Thank you very much. They noticed a small swelling on the whale's side, unusual for this species. An ultrasound scan, performed underwater using portable equipment, revealed the presence of a foreign object in the whale's stomach. After a brief consultation, the team decided to transport the whale to the nearest marine mammal rehabilitation center for immediate surgery. It was a complex and risky operation. The animal was in a weakened state, and any stress could be fatal, but there was no alternative. Without urgent surgical intervention, the whale's chances of survival were slim. Using a special inflatable pontoon and a tugboat, the whale was carefully transported to shore. The calf followed the vessel the entire way, never straying more than a meter. At the rehabilitation center, the veterinary team immediately began the operation. What they removed from the whale's stomach shocked everyone. A large piece of industrial fishing net saturated with toxic chemicals. A laboratory analysis revealed that the net had been treated with an especially harmful anti-fouling compound, including tributyltin, one of the most toxic pollutants in the marine environment. "This is a chemical time bomb," explained Dr. Chen, the lead veterinarian, showing Oliver the lab results. When the whale ingested this piece of net, the chemicals began dissolving in its stomach acid. The toxins entered its bloodstream and accumulated in its fatty tissues, slowly poisoning its entire system. The monitors revealed the extent of the damage the toxins had inflicted on the whale's internal organs. The liver had swollen to nearly twice its normal size, with its tissues visibly inflamed. The kidneys were straining, struggling to filter out the harmful substances. The immune system had nearly shut down, allowing the massive barnacle infestation. Another 3 or 4 days at most, and the damage would have been irreversible. Dr. Chen shook his head, studying the blood analysis. The concentration of toxins had already reached a critical level. That's why she couldn't move properly. Her muscular system was partially paralyzed by the poison. If it hadn't been for the calf's remarkable intelligence and your timely help, we would have lost them both. Oliver examined the piece of net under a microscope. Under the laboratory light, crystals of toxic substances were clearly visible, embedded in the synthetic fibers. These anti-fouling coatings were banned in the early 2000s because of their extreme toxicity, explained one of the lab technicians. But some unscrupulous manufacturers still use them, especially in countries with less strict environmental regulations. Over the following 3 weeks, the whale and her calf stayed in a dedicated rehabilitation pool. Oliver came by nearly every day, assisting with their care and capturing their progress on camera. Slowly but surely, the adult whale's health began to recover. Her wounds healed, blood tests showed a reduction in toxin levels, and her appetite returned. The calf stayed close to his mother the entire time. The center's staff marveled at his loyalty and intelligence. If it weren't for his persistence in seeking help, we would never have known his mother was in trouble, they said. In mid-October, when all the indicators had normalized, the decision was made to release the whales back into the ocean. The day was remarkably clear and warm. Dozens of people gathered on the shore to witness the touching event. Oliver was on one of the escort boats, continuing to film. When the gates of the rehabilitation pool opened, the whales didn't immediately head for the exit. They swam near the entrance for several minutes as if getting used to the idea of freedom. Then, as if making a decision, the mother and calf dove simultaneously and swam toward the open ocean. Suddenly, after swimming some distance, they stopped. Turning around, both whales took turns breaching, leaping almost entirely out of the water and crashing back down with a loud splash. To everyone watching, it seemed like a farewell wave and an expression of thanks for their rescue. Following this, the whales gradually headed north, beginning their long migration to the wintering grounds near the coast of Hawaii. In the following months, the story of the whales' rescue appeared in many scientific publications and environmental journals. Special attention was given to the calf's unusual behavior in seeking human help. Cetacean behavior experts noted that such cases are extremely rare and demonstrate the high intelligence of these animals. Oliver continued to follow the fate of the whales he had saved. Thanks to special tracking tags attached before their release, scientists were able to monitor their movements. The signals showed that the pair had successfully reached the warm Hawaiian waters, joining a large group of humpback whales. The following summer, something extraordinary happened. Oliver, who now regularly dove in the same area, hoping to encounter his old friends, spotted familiar spouts on the water's surface. Approaching by boat, he recognized them. The mother and calf returned to their summer feeding grounds. The whales looked healthy and strong. The mother's body showed almost no traces of her ordeal, except for a small scar on her side, a reminder of the surgery. They lingered near Oliver's boat for almost an hour, giving him the chance to take photos and occasionally surfacing, as if striking a pose for the camera. The calf, visibly larger after a year of growth, even ventured close to the boat, softly brushing against it with his fin. This story became not only an example of a successful marine animal rescue, but also a reminder of how interconnected the lives of humans and ocean inhabitants are. Thanks to the compassion of one man and the professionalism of a rescue team, 2 magnificent creatures were given a second chance at life. For Oliver, this incident marked a turning point in his career. He left his previous job and fully dedicated himself to the protection of marine mammals, joining the same rescue center that helped save the whales. Now, he regularly participates in rescue operations, helping other marine creatures in distress. The photos and videos he captured during the whale rescue became part of an educational program on marine conservation. They help raise awareness about ocean pollution and show the devastating impact human waste can have on marine life. Every year, when humpback whales return to the waters of British Columbia, Oliver ventures out to sea with a special sense of anticipation. Although he understands the odds of meeting his whales again are low, he remains hopeful. After all, this remarkable experience showed him that miracles are possible, especially when it comes to majestic creatures like humpback whales. Did you like this story? If you saw a whale in distress, would you attempt to help it? Let us know in the comments below. If you like the story, subscribe to this channel and leave a like. Thanks to the compassion of one man, 2 magnificent creatures were granted a second chance at life. Thank you so much for listening. See you in the next video. Have a great day.